Hey, how are you guys doing? Very good. It's good to see you guys out here today. It's Mr. Rhines' Math in the Woods, and I think we're on episode or part number 5. So hey, let's get started in it right away so we can review a little bit and get started with some subtracting of integers. But first we're going to review a little bit of some addition of integers. I'm here back in Del Santos Woods next to this little creek here, so that's kind of cool to have that in the background while we're working today. Oh, look at this. This is just so bizarre how almost every week I find this whiteboard out here. Anyways, it's a muddy mess along here, but I got my hip boots on here today, so we should be good. Got some markers in my pocket, got the clipboard, so I can review some stuff out of there. Hopefully you guys have had a good weekend as we get started here. All right, I want to review just a little bit. Maybe I'll stick this up on end here. I'll bring it up to the camera to show you too. I want to review those signs of our add-ins and sum that we did like a week or two ago, where we had something like maybe a 6 plus a -5, something like that. And we said, hey, when you have something like this, can you see that? My shadow is going to be kind of funky in the way here. I guess if I stand on this side, you guys can see it with the shadows in the trees here. 6 plus a -5. When we have something like that, there was 3 different methods that we showed you. We showed you a number line like this, and if we did something like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that. We said this is starting, we kind of start from 0 and we're going to go out 6 to here. This is out a +6, and then from there, when we see negative, you go backwards. So we're going back -5, and so where does that put us? Right here at 1. That was one way that we could do it with a number line. Then we looked at those colored chips. Let's find my markers down here. And we said, all right, we got greens and reds. Greens for the positive, red for the negative. So we have 6 positives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we had 5 negatives. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these cancel each other out. And what does that leave? 1 positive 1. Positive 1, like we see right there. All right. Lastly, number 3, the absolute value method. Where basically we say, okay, when you have a 6 plus a -5, which one? Well, first of all, if they're different signs like this, we say, okay, this is a +6, this is a -5. Which one is farther from 0? 6 is farther from 0 than 5 is. Yes, 5 is on a number line would be way down here, a -5, and 6 would be up here, but 6 is farther away from 0 than 5. What is 6? 6 is a positive, so we know the answer is going to be positive. So if we see this, 6 plus -5, 6 is farther from 0, so we know the answer is going to be positive. And then when they're different signs, this is a positive, this is a negative, you subtract. Different signs, you find the difference. Difference means subtract. So 6 minus 5 is 1, and so you're left with that +1. 3 different methods that we did there. I wanted to review that real quick. Okay, next we're going to look at subtracting of integers. Oh look, hanging in the tree is something to erase with. Truth be told, it's just an old t-shirt, but it works. All right, now today I wanted to look at subtracting negative integers, or subtracting integers. Let's take a problem that looks like this. 7 minus a -6. Okay, now this is what we call a double negative. You're subtracting a negative number. So when you subtract a negative number, it's what we call a double negative. I think when you watched a video last week, they said, well, it's not like I don't not like him. If you don't not like him, that means you like him. It's a double negative. I was thinking of something like that. You always hear like people in the springtime as the snow is melting will say, yeah, it's starting to unthaw. Unthaw? Thaw means to melt. So if it's unthawing, it's really freezing. And that's not what happens when it goes from winter to spring, although sometimes in the Midwest we have a little bit of warm weather, a little bit of rain, or a little bit of snow. But when you say unthaw, that really means freezing. It's also a double negative like that. So this is a double negative. And when we have a double negative, it kind of works like this. Like if you were seeing this on a number line, let's see, is that the one that I had there? Yeah. So if on a number line, let's take it, I don't know, out to, let's do twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, like that. So you start at a 7, start at a 0, and a 7 would be right here. And normally, if this was plus a negative 6, well then you'd go negative 6 back to here, but that's not what you're doing. You're subtracting a negative 6, and really, if you're going to do opposite of adding a negative 6, which is adding a negative 6 going this way, if you subtract the negative 6, two negatives actually makes a positive. Unthaw, freezing. Well, it's not like I don't like him, then you like him. Subtracting a negative 6, it's really like adding a 6. So then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is actually going to be positive 13. I know, crazy. Two negatives make a positive. A double negative makes a positive. So that's why in there they said subtraction is a lie. Because if you're going to subtract a negative integer, it's really the same as adding that number. Because if you were adding a negative 6, yep, it would have come back here and been a positive 1. But when you subtract a negative 6, two negatives make a positive, you're actually going that way. Just think, two negatives make a positive. Two negatives make a positive, and so in this case, positive 13. Now, if you saw it like this, well, I guess we could have rewritten it. We could have said 7 plus 6 is the 13 and done it like that. All right, let's look at another problem. If we had something like a 9 minus 5, this isn't subtracting a negative 5. This is just subtracting 5. So if subtraction is a lie, let me go down on my knee here. If subtraction is a lie, this is where you rewrite it. 9 plus a negative 5. And then this is like what we were doing 2 and 3 weeks ago. And like I just reviewed with you a minute ago. This is a positive 9. This is a negative 5. Oh yeah, two different signs. All right, which one's farther from 0? 9 is. So we know the answer is going to be positive. And when there's different signs, you find the difference. 9 minus 5 is 4. Yep, on the number line, you would have gone out here to 9. And then because it's plus a negative 5, then it would have gone on this way. Yeah, but Mr. Rhines, I thought two negatives make a positive. This isn't two negatives. This is only one. It wasn't subtracting negative 5. It was just subtracting 5. And that's really written like this, plus a negative 5. So it brings it back here to that 4. All right, so let's review with a couple of problems. 5 minus a negative 3. If we wanted to rewrite that, that would be 5. Two negatives make a positive. So this would be 8. Does that make sense? Secondly, if we had a negative 6 minus 4. Well, this is really a negative 6 plus a negative 4. Same signs in the answer. So negative 6, negative 4, you know this is going to be a negative. And when it's same signs, you add. So 6 plus 4 is 10. On a number line, you would have been, if that's 0, and here's negative 6, now you're going to add on a negative 4. So a negative 4 would have pushed it even further back and made this a negative 10. Probably see that like that. Now, here's the bonus one. Final one before Mr. Rhines heads back and has dinner tonight. Let's see if we can do this one. I'm gonna switch this one this way. All right, let's take a negative 6 plus 4 minus 8 plus 10 minus 7 plus 3. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. All right, negative 6 plus 4 minus 8 plus 10 minus 7 plus 3. This is the bonus question. We'll call it bonus. We'll solve it with a green. If I can find it down here in the mud. Mr. Rhines, what are you doing in that mud? We're in nature. Remember, it's Mr. Rhines' math in the woods. You can't have woods without mud. All right, so this is negative 6 plus 4. Really, when we see a negative 8, it's really the same as adding a negative 8. So if we're going to rewrite this, adding a negative 8 plus 10, adding, because there's no such thing as subtraction, it's a lie, plus a negative 7 plus 3. So let's go through. Negative 6 plus 4, that's going to bring it closer to 0. So now we're at a negative 2. Negative 2 plus a negative 8, whoops, that's down to a negative 10. Plus 10 brings us back to 0. Plus a negative 7, that's at a negative 7 now. Plus a 3, that brings us back closer to 0. So my negative 7 on a number line, that would have been, here's 0. Way down here is negative 7 plus 3. I'm going to start coming back this way, but I'm not going to make it all the way back to 0. So my answer here would have been a negative 4, for those of you keeping score at home. All right. Wanted to review some of those rules for adding and subtracting, although we change the subtraction to addition when we do that with integers. So pretty cool, pretty fun. Hopefully that works out and reviews a little bit for you as you go into today. So as we say, peace out. We love you, and we'll see you along the way.